On standard class planet AE86, human potential is a strict mathematical certainty. A citizen's social status, wealth, and survival are dictated by one thing: awakening psychic abilities before the age of 20. As this diagram shows, society measures this potential through the gene unlocking rate. This number acts as a biological ceiling. If you cannot illuminate enough of your genetic chain to pass a strict threshold, you are relegated to the bottom of the social pyramid. That is the biological dead end facing a 19-year-old student named Chi. With only 3 days left until his deadline, his unlock rate is stranded at a microscopic 0.6%. The institutional logic of this world is ruthless. Chi's principal is actively forcing him to drop out of school because, from the administration's perspective, a low-stat individual is a statistical liability that drags down the school's overall ranking. But moments before his 20th birthday, his failure is derailed. A system anomaly manifests in his room, the Multiverse Card Draw System. The card system provides an alternative to biological evolution, pivoting Chi's survival strategy toward probability and resource management. To understand the scale of this exploit, look at this chart comparing Chi to his very first gotcha pull, an entity named Esdeath. While Chi's genetic bar sits barely visible at 0.6%, Esdeath arrives with a 90% unlock rate. Because they are tethered, her massive stat block pulls Chi's tiny bar upward through high-difficulty combat instances, skipping beginner zones. In practice, the disparity is stark. Dropped into level 30 mechanical boss rooms, Esdeath unleashes a wave of jagged ice that shatters entire armies. Chi doesn't need to swing a sword to progress. He acts as an XP vacuum, standing on the sidelines absorbing experience from her mass casualty events. But this parasitic loop has a flaw. Esdeath's high-tier attacks drain Chi's meager spiritual energy reserves. Every time she strikes, his physical body begins to break down. An overpowered carry is useless if the host acts as a bottlenecked battery. To keep using Esdeath, Chi must upgrade his own biology to sustain her power. The system provides a solution through a secondary currency, bond energy. Instead of combat, this energy is generated through emotional inputs and relational dynamics. Farming this resource requires mundane actions. Chi earns points by feeding Esdeath local street food, or by allowing her to indulge her absolute obsession with fighting in high-level dungeons. This flowchart shows how the engine works. The daily maintenance of their relationship, the food and the combat, funnels into a central battery. The system converts these points to optimize Chi's martial arts techniques, bypassing decades of grinding. He applies this mechanic to a high-level cultivation method known as the Shen Yuan breathing technique, mastering it in a matter of hours. This chart illustrates the result of that hack. For 19 years, Chi's progression flatlined, but within a 3-day window, his gene unlocking rate spikes vertically from 0.6%, crossing the 2.0% threshold required for elite university admission. With his stats crossing into elite territory, Chi secures school funding and S-rank combat manuals like the instant kill sword technique. These resources feed directly back into his progression. He has engineered a symbiotic circuit. Relational maintenance buys raw biological stats. Those stats expand his energy reserves, allowing Esdeath to unleash greater devastation. The test of this system occurs during a massive raid. A level 100 mutated abyss lava demon hijacks a dungeon, trapping the planet's elite SR rank psionicists inside. Their standard attacks barely scratch its armor. The elite team has a single win condition. They possess an attack capable of piercing the beast's defenses, but it requires the demon to be immobilized for a few seconds. Chi and Esdeath step through the locked barrier right as the team faces collapse. The social hierarchy is inverted here. The formerly powerless outcast is now the single variable capable of saving the celebrated fighters on the planet. Because Chi expanded his spiritual reserves through the bond loop, he can finally act as a battery for Esdeath's most demanding ability. Esdeath activates Maha Padma, an absolute time freeze. As a ghostly blue pulse sweeps across the zone, it halts the boss, the environmental destruction, and the elite fighters in place. This opening allows the elite strike to land flawlessly. Esdeath physically repositions the boss directly into the path of the charged attack, annihilating the level 100 anomaly. In the aftermath, Chi absorbs the rewards, hoards high-tier gear, and reaches level 58. The student once deemed a failure is now positioned above the elites who gated his existence just days prior. Chi's ascent demonstrates how a singular anomaly can bypass genetic destiny. By converting relational bonds into raw biological stats, he turned a statistical dead end into a proprietary loop of calculated growth.